Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the NBA slate on DraftKings for Tuesday, March 20th. We've got 6 games today on the main slate on DraftKings. There are actually 7 games. There is one game that's at 7 o'clock, but it's not a part of the DK main slate. I believe it's a part of some slates. I know I play on Yahoo a lot, and I looked at their slate, and they're going to have it in there. I'm not sure about FanDuel. Haven't looked at FanDuel. But on DK, that 7 o'clock game's not included in the slate. So 6 games from 8 to 10:30. Looking to get back on track tonight after a pretty tilting day yesterday. Just injuries after lock. Tyreek Evans getting ruled out after lock. Pretty tilting. With Gasol out, I did like Evans. And then obviously after lock, he got ruled out. Pretty annoying. Also just had some guys really disappoint. I went to some of the Memphis bigs, for obviously with Gasol out, and they were in a great spot. Jarrell Martin only plays 12 minutes because he gets in foul trouble. Puts up a disappointing game. I played him over JaMychal Green. That was pretty annoying. Denzel Valentine, I thought was going to have a big game, and he only plays 20 minutes after coming off a 50-point game, a career high. Only plays 20 minutes next game. Pretty annoying as well. But that's kind of what we're dealing with right now in NBA DFS. With teams tanking, just guys are going to get minutes. Their minutes are going to be up and down. Some nights they might play big minutes. Next night they might only play like 20, 22 minutes. We really don't know this time of the year. Kind of ready for baseball. Baseball does start in like a week. Really hyped for that. But I still will be grinding out NBA rest of the season, at least till baseball starts. Getting out videos pretty much every day if I can. Definitely going to be playing every slate. And before we get started looking at today's 6-game slate, guys, please drop a like on the video. I would really appreciate it. And if you're new, make sure you click that subscribe button. Going to be getting out NBA videos till baseball starts. When baseball starts, going to be getting out MLB videos as well. Not sure if I'm going to make videos on both sports because there's about a week or two where you have MLB and NBA going on at the same time. Probably will be just focusing on baseball then, but if I can, I will try and get videos out for both sports. But anyways, let's go ahead and start off at point guard today. Really good position up top. We got Russ, Harden, and Damian Lillard all up top here. Do like paying up for some of these guys. Obviously, Russell Westbrook, you can consider him pretty much every slate. This matchup against Boston, definitely not as bad of a matchup as it would have been if, say, Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart were able to play for this game. Both of them are injured. Kyrie Irving's also not going to play as well. Terry Rozier, he's a solid defender, but obviously he's not going to be able to stop Westbrook. So you could play Westbrook here against Boston. You could definitely play James Harden against Portland if you want to do that as well. But the guy that I really like, especially in tournaments, you get good savings, $2,000 in savings if you go down from Westbrook and Harden. I like Damian Lillard here against Houston. I think he's a really good play today. Love playing Lillard in these big big time games against like Houston, against Golden State. Lillard always gets up and plays well. We've seen it this year against the Warriors. He's played well against them. Through 2 games this year against the Rockets, he's put up an average of 51 DraftKings points. The matchup with Chris Paul, I'm not really worried about. Obviously, Paul is a solid defender, but he's not really going to be able to stop Lillard. Lillard's coming off a disappointing game. I think he bounces back big time today. We're getting a little bit of savings on him as well at 9,300. Definitely like him at this price. You could play Westbrook. You could play Harden if you wanted to do that. But I like the savings you get going down to Lillard. And definitely a guy I'm wanting to pay up for at point guard. But guys like Holiday, Drew Holiday, Chris Paul, like Donovan Mitchell, Rozier, these aren't guys I'm probably most likely not going to be going to just because I like the guys that are more expensive. Rozier, he seems too expensive even with Kyrie out. I can't pay $7,300 for Rozier. If he has a big game, oh well. But lately he's only been putting up like 30, 35, and that's not really getting it done at $7,300. So if you're not going to pay up for the top options here, there isn't really a lot I like in the mid-tier. Definitely do like CJ McCollum here if you want to go to him. I think he could be a play if you want to play him at point guard. You can play him at shooting guard as well. This is a good spot for McCollum. He's definitely going to see a good matchup whether he's guarded by Harden or whoever does guard McCollum. I think it's a good spot for him. He's played well this year against Houston. Through 2 games against them, averaged 39 DraftKings points. And McCollum's under 7K, just 6,700, really good price. Very likely he's able to pay this off if you wanted to go to McCollum in cash games, just because of the price tag. I think he pretty easily gets 5x on that price and does make sense. If you're wanting to use him as a cheap option, or like a mid-tier option, 6,700 I should say. But then if we're going for value, there are 2 value plays I like here. So Elfrid Payton, kind of a guy I want to mention. Not really in love with him because the minutes lately for Elfrid Payton have been so up and down. Last 4 games, 27, 23, 17, and 27 minutes. But this is definitely a spot where Payton's going to see a lot of usage. We already know TJ Warren is unlikely to play today for Phoenix. Devin Booker is also questionable as well. If both of those guys miss, even if Payton only plays like 26, 27 minutes, he could still put up a really big game, especially at this price tag of just $5,700 if both of those guys are out. I do worry about his minutes a bit, just because when we saw him kind of when he first got traded to the Suns, he was playing 35, 36, 37 minutes every night. Lately, that hasn't been the case, but just with how many guys are injured for the Suns, possibly with Booker missing as well, you could definitely go to Payton at $5,700, but I do like a guy that's a little bit cheaper, Yogi Ferrell. I really like here at $5,300. We already know Dennis Smith Jr. is not going to play today. J.J. Barea is also questionable as well. If both of those guys, or we already know Smith's out, but if Barea misses as well, that's two guys in the backcourt that's not going to be able to play, so we can expect Yogi to play some big minutes here. He played 32 minutes last game against Brooklyn, put up 38 DraftKings points. He's in a great matchup. The Pelicans, they're one of the worst defensive teams. They play at a very fast pace. They're very bad defensively against point guards. Love Yogi here if you want to go to him at $5,300. I definitely like him for cheap, just with the guys injured. We can expect Yogi to play some big minutes, and he's really, really cheap, so I think he makes a lot of sense at point guard for value. And that's really what I like for the value if I'm going sub 5K. At least options that really catch my eye looking at this slate the night before. So let's go ahead and move on to shooting guard. Look up top here. Look for guys we haven't mentioned. You do have Devin Booker up top here, who you could definitely play against Detroit if he plays today. I do like Devin Booker, especially at this price tag of $7,400. That's a very cheap price. He's coming off a really disappointing game against the Jazz, where he only put up 19 DraftKings points and just wasn't a good game from Booker. Shot 16% from the field. Just was missing a lot of shots, wasn't getting a lot done. But if Booker plays today, I definitely think we see him bounce back here. He could be an option at $7,400. This is a 10 o'clock game. Not sure if we'll have the news before lock. But I definitely recommend, guys, if you haven't tried out Yahoo Fantasy, Yahoo DFS, you definitely want to do it this time of the year. With all the late scratches going on, you're going to need late swap. And Yahoo, they still offer late swap. I play on there pretty much every night. I was able to get Evans out of some of my lineups, but it didn't really matter because my lineups kind of stunk anyway. But definitely getting late swap this time of the year for NBA, very crucial. Very crucial. So if Booker plays, you could definitely consider him here. If we don't get the news before lock, I still like him. You could definitely play him. And then maybe if you play on Yahoo or something and he's ruled out, you can just pivot off of him to someone else. But at his price, I do like Booker today at $7,400 against Detroit. And then if we want to look for other plays, in this mid-range, there's a guy I absolutely love here that I think is a great play today. You can play him at shooting guard or small forward on DK. Love Josh Jackson at $6,300. I think he's one of the better plays on the slate. At least one of the options that just really catches my eye. We already know TJ Warren is doubtful, like I said earlier. Devin Booker questionable as well. If they both miss, we can expect Josh Jackson to put up a monster game here. Last game, both of those guys were out, I believe. Not sure if Warren was out, but I know Devin Booker did not play against the Warriors. And Josh Jackson played 36 minutes, put up 54 DraftKings points. We've seen the kind of upside this guy has when he gets big minutes. We can expect big minutes from him here, especially if Booker is unable to play. And at $6,300, I think that's a reasonable price tag. He could easily crush value at this price. So love Jackson today. I think he's a great play if you want to play him at shooting guard or small forward in that mid-range. Definitely a guy that I like there. And since I really like him so much, guys like Wiggins, Joe Ingles, Rivers, these aren't really guys I'm considering. Maybe McCollum, but I think I'd actually prefer Jackson over McCollum. And then for value at shooting guard, not a lot I love. Corey Brewer is a guy I've kind of been on lately just because he's been playing so well. Finally had a dud, though, last game against Toronto, only putting up 18 DraftKings points, but he's still playing big minutes. For that reason, I think you can definitely consider Corey Brewer. He's still cheap at $4,200. He's playing 30 minutes or more pretty much every game since he's been in the starting lineup. And he does make sense here as a value option, especially with Boston so injury depleted. And some of their really good defenders aren't going to be able to play here. You could go to Brewer at $4,200 if you're punting this position. But that's really what I like for the value side. So moving on to small forward, PG is a top option here going up against Boston. I do really like PG's price at $7,600, but not sure if I'm going to consider him here. Just because I like some of the other studs like Lillard, some of the top guys like Westbrook, AD, we'll talk about later, Harden. Just like in that mid-range, I don't think Paul George is the guy I'm really wanting to go to, but he is cheap. I think it would make sense to play him, but I personally don't think I will be going there today. I like some of the like 6K, 5K plays at small forward. If we go down to that range, you could play Marcus Morris at 6K against OKC because he's been playing pretty well lately with Kyrie out, been getting a lot of shots up, been having solid fantasy games, but I think I would actually prefer to go down 200 cheaper and look to a guy like Nemanja Bjelica, a guy I really like here against the Clippers. He's playing big minutes with Jimmy Butler out. This guy's playing nearly 40 minutes every game. We know Thibodeau is going to run the starters into the ground, so we can expect Bjelica to play really big minutes. These teams did just play, I believe. The Clippers and Timberwolves just played. Bjelica, I would imagine Butler didn't play in that game. He played 34 minutes, put up 37 DraftKings points, had a solid game against them earlier this year. He's still cheap. He's only $5,800. That's too cheap of a price for Bjelica when he's playing nearly 40 minutes. So I really like him if you're going cheap for value. Definitely a guy that sticks out to me. Guys like Tatum, Carmelo, Aminu, just don't think I'm going to those guys. Would much rather have Bjelica at $5,800. But then if we're going sub 5K for really cheap value, there is a guy that I like here if you're trying to punt small forward or power forward. Jay Crowder at $4,600. I think he's a really good play here. We already know Derek Favors going to be out today for the Jazz, so there's a chance Jay Crowder could move into the starting lineup. Even if he doesn't start, we can still expect him to play 30 or more minutes off the bench. And Crowder has been pretty good for fantasy with the Jazz. He's playing solid minutes. He's putting up solid fantasy games. With Favors out, we can expect him to pick up a few more minutes, pick up some more usage off the bench. And I think he's a really good play here. Great matchup against the Hawks. Really like Jay Crowder if you're looking for some value at small forward or power forward. I think he's a good option at $4,600. But that's what I see for small forward if we're going cheap. So let's go ahead and move on to power forward. We do have AD and Blake Griffin, two stud options here. I definitely like Anthony Davis on the slate against Dallas. It's going to be hard trying to rank him, Westbrook, and Davis. Like, which one would be my favorite? I think I'd go Harden probably be my favorite, then Davis, then Westbrook. But like I said at the beginning, guys, I love the savings you get if you don't want to pay for those guys going down to Lillard, or even if you want to like try and jam one of them in and play Lillard as well. If you find a lot of value you like, you could definitely take that route. So just talking about Davis, this is a great matchup against Dallas. They're a bad rebounding team. We all know this. They're bad at defending bigs. This is a spot where AD could put up a monster game. We've seen the kind of upside he has. He's putting up monster games with Boogie off the court. He's playing big minutes in competitive games. AD definitely has 90, 100-point upside. We've seen him do it before this year. So I do like paying up for him. Like I said, I like Lillard. I like the savings you get with Lillard. If you can play AD and Lillard, I think that makes a lot of sense. But if you want to do that, you might have to sacrifice a guy like Josh Jackson, who is $6,300, and that will cost you a little bit of salary. Maybe if you can find some value off of Jackson, if you think it's going to be too popular or something, and you want to pay up for multiple studs, then you maybe could replace him with someone else that you like. But if we look for other power forward plays, I want to consider Al Horford, but he's been so atrocious lately. Not sure if I want to go to him. But we know with Kyrie off the court, Al Horford does see a bump in usage. He's had big games this year when Kyrie has missed. But like I said, he hasn't been good lately. He's coming off a disappointing game against the Pelicans where he only put up 17 DraftKings points in 28 minutes. Kyrie was out that game, and Horford still had a disappointing game. But he did see a price decrease. He's down to $6,500. For that reason, I think you could consider Horford today if you did want to go to that price range. There are plays I like that are cheap here that just seem too cheap. Like Nikola Mirotic seems too cheap against Dallas at $5,400. I think you could definitely consider him at that price. If you're looking to go cheap at either power forward or center, I believe you can play him at center. No, just power forward. But if you're going cheap at power forward, Mirotic $5,400, just because of that price I like. But that's really it for value, at least I see at this position. So moving on to center, we got Cat, Drummond, two studs up top here. Both of these guys are definitely in great matchups. Cat gets to go up against the Clippers, who have been very bad defensively against centers this year. Same with Andre Drummond, another great matchup. The Phoenix Suns have been very bad at just defending all positions this year. Right now, I'm obviously not putting these guys into the 5 plays into the core, but maybe if you don't find the salary to play like Lillard and Davis or Lillard and Harden, it does make sense to maybe play Lillard and Drummond or Lillard and Towns if you want to do that. I think my favorite would most likely be Andre Drummond against Phoenix just because it's against Phoenix, and Phoenix is just so bad at defending all positions. This is a spot where we could definitely see Drummond put up 20 and 20. 50 DraftKings points, very likely for Andre Drummond here. Cat might have more upside if you want to play Towns in tournaments, but for cash games, I think Drummond is the safer play there at $9,400 if you're paying up at center. But if we want to look for other center plays, I want to consider Gobert here just because Favors is out, but Gobert is really expensive. It is a great matchup, but $8,400, don't know if I want to pay that price for Gobert. Kind of the same with DeAndre Jordan, kind of the same with Steven Adams, Capella. Just don't really like a lot of these guys' price. Capella would probably be my favorite option at $6,600. He might actually be a little bit underpriced. You can always consider Nurkic in tournaments because the guy has so much upside. He's risky. But maybe with obviously Houston having Capella, with them having a big body like that, maybe we see Nurkic play nearly 30 minutes here and put up a monster game. But that's obviously a risk you take with rostering Nurkic. Don't really know if you're going to get that monster game or if you're just going to get that dud. But you could go to him in GPPs. That's really what I see for center if we're going cheap. Possibly if Tyson Chandler sits again, we could consider Alex Len. Alex Len's dirt cheap at 3,700. This is a spot where Alex Len will probably have to play about 20 to 25 minutes with Detroit having a big front court, with them having Drummond and Blake Griffin. They're going to need a big body on the court. So Alex Len, if you really wanted to punt center, I don't love him, but for tournaments, the guy has upside when he gets minutes, and he is dirt cheap. Could definitely get possibly even 10x on that price. So he would be a guy I'd consider if you're just trying to maybe fit in a start or two and you need someone to really kind of punt with at center at least. That's what I see for this position, and I think that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy the vid. Hopefully it helped you. Just make sure you drop a like if you enjoyed. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And I think that's pretty much it, guys. Good luck tonight on this slate. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.